Have you ever pondered the true nature of South African politics? It's a dynamic and complex world that has captured the attention of observers worldwide. South Africa's political landscape is often viewed through lenses colored by decades of unique historical events and global assumptions. However, just like any other nation, it's a tapestry woven with intricate patterns of diverse ideologies, vibrant debates, and intriguing power dynamics. Understanding South African politics is crucial not just for the citizens who live under its influence, but also for the global community. Why, you ask? South Africa is an influential player on the African continent and has a significant impact on regional politics and beyond. The country's political decisions can sway economic trends, peace negotiations, and environmental policies across borders. Today, we'll be delving into some common myths and misconceptions, and uncovering the truth about South African politics. So buckle up, it's going to be a fascinating journey into the heart of this vibrant nation. One common myth is that South African politics is dominated by one party. Well, let's delve into that, shall we? It's true that the African National Congress, or ANC, has held the majority in the National Assembly since the end of Apartheid in the early 90s. But to say that South Africa is dominated by one party would be an oversimplification. In reality, South Africa boasts a multi-party system, with parties spanning a wide spectrum of ideologies and beliefs. This system is designed to ensure that the voices of all South Africans are represented at the national level. The Democratic Alliance, for example, is the official opposition to the ANC. It has consistently held around 20 to 25% of the seats in the National Assembly and has governed the Western Cape Province since 2009. Then there's the Economic Freedom Fighters, known for their radical and far-left economic policies. Formed in 2013, they've quickly grown to become the third largest party in the assembly. And let's not forget about the Inkatha Freedom Party, the Freedom Front Plus, and the United Democratic Movement, among others. Each of these parties brings unique perspectives and priorities to the table, influencing policy and legislation in their own ways. Moreover, the influence of these parties extends beyond the national level. In local and provincial elections, smaller parties often hold significant sway, affecting change at a grassroots level. So, while the ANC may be the most prominent party, it's far from the only influential player in the game. South African politics is a dynamic arena, full of robust debate, negotiation, and compromise. The notion of a single-party domination is a myth, a misconception born perhaps out of a lack of understanding of the complexities of South African politics. And while the ANC has indeed been a significant force, it's essential not to overlook the vital roles that other parties play in shaping and driving the country's political landscape. Contrary to popular belief, South African politics is not dominated by one party, but rather a vibrant and dynamic political landscape. Another myth we often hear is that South Africa is a failed state. This is a sweeping statement that overlooks the complexity and resilience of this Southern African nation. Let's unpack this myth. A failed state typically refers to a political body that has disintegrated to a point where basic conditions and responsibilities of a sovereign government no longer function. Now, it's undeniable that South Africa has its share of challenges. From the lingering effects of apartheid to economic disparity and political corruption, these issues are real and pressing. However, to label the entire nation as a failed state is a gross oversimplification. Firstly, South Africa has a functioning government, with regular, free, and fair elections that enable the democratic process. It has a robust constitution, hailed as one of the most progressive in the world, which upholds the rule of law and protects human rights. Secondly, South Africa's economy, while facing difficulties, is the second largest in Africa. The country has experienced growth, albeit slow, and has significant economic potential. It is a key player in the global economy, with strong ties to both developed and developing nations. Furthermore, South Africa has made strides in social development. The government has implemented numerous programs aimed at reducing poverty and improving education and healthcare. While progress may be slower than many would like, it is progress nonetheless. Is South Africa perfect? No. Does it face serious challenges that need to be addressed? Absolutely. But it's essential to bear in mind that a country's journey is not a sprint, but a marathon. South Africa is on a path of transformation and growth, and while the road may be long and fraught with obstacles, it is far from being a failed state. In conclusion, it's crucial to approach the narrative of South Africa with nuance and understanding. To label it as a failed state is to disregard its progress, potential, and the resilience of its people. South Africa, while facing challenges, is far from being a failed state. Many believe that corruption defines South African politics. This is a common narrative, but it's just not the entire picture. Yes, South Africa has had its share of political scandals, and allegations of corruption have indeed tainted its political landscape. However, it's crucial to remember that corruption is not the sole defining factor of the country's politics. It's easy to fall into the trap of viewing South African politics through the lens of corruption, but this perspective overlooks the numerous strides the nation has made towards transparency and accountability. South Africa has been taking significant steps to combat corruption, with the government implementing stringent measures and regulations to weed out corrupt practices. For instance, the country has established bodies such as the Public Protector and the Special Investigating Unit, tasked with investigating allegations of corruption and ensuring governmental accountability. The South African government has also adopted the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, which provides a comprehensive legal framework to deal with corruption in both the public and private sectors. Moreover, South Africa is a member of the Open Government Partnership, an international platform for reformers committed to making governments more open, accountable, and responsive to citizens. The country has also shown commitment to international anti-corruption conventions, such as the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Civil society, too, plays a crucial role in combating corruption. Numerous non-governmental organizations like Corruption Watch and the Right to Know campaign actively work towards exposing corruption and promoting transparency and accountability. The media in South Africa, often hailed as one of the freest on the continent, also plays a significant role in exposing corruption and holding power to account. Investigative journalism in the country has led to the exposure of several high-profile corruption cases, contributing to the discourse around transparency and accountability. Yes, corruption is a significant issue that South Africa grapples with, but it's important to remember that it does not define the country's politics. The narrative is changing. There are ongoing efforts to tackle this problem, and to paint South African politics as solely defined by corruption is to overlook the strides made in building a more transparent and accountable system. Corruption, while a significant issue, does not define South African politics. There are ongoing efforts to tackle this problem. Some argue that the legacy of apartheid no longer influences South African politics. This assertion, however, glosses over the complex realities that continue to shape the nation's political, social, and economic landscape. The apartheid era, a systematic and state-sanctioned racial segregation policy, has left indelible scars on South Africa. The legacy of this period reverberates through the political scene even today, shaping policies, influencing voting patterns, and driving the discourse on national identity. Let's delve into the political sphere first. The African National Congress, or the ANC, has been the dominant political force since the end of apartheid in the early 90s. This can largely be attributed to their role as the leading anti-apartheid movement, which still resonates with many South Africans. The party's enduring popularity is a testament to the enduring influence of the apartheid era. On a social level, the legacy of apartheid is evident in the deep-seated racial inequalities that persist in South Africa. The process of reconciliation and healing is ongoing, with the government instituting various measures to redress past injustices. These initiatives, which include land reform and affirmative action, are heavily influenced by the need to rectify the societal imbalances caused by apartheid. Economically, the effects of apartheid continue to be felt. The economic disparities between racial groups, a direct result of apartheid policies, remain stark. Addressing these inequalities is a central theme in South Africa's political discourse and policymaking. The influence of apartheid on South African politics isn't merely historical. It's an active, ongoing process, shaping the nation's trajectory as it grapples with its past while striving for a more equitable and inclusive future. The echoes of apartheid are heard in every political debate, every policy decision, and every step the nation takes towards progress. In short, the assertion that apartheid's legacy no longer influences South African politics is more myth than reality. The vestiges of this oppressive era are deeply woven into the fabric of the nation's political, social, and economic life. The legacy of apartheid continues to influence South African politics in profound ways. We've deconstructed several myths about South African politics. We've journeyed through the intriguing world of politics in this diverse nation, challenging the notion that it's dominated by a single party. Indeed, the landscape is varied, with multiple parties contributing to a vibrant democracy. We've also debunked the myth that South Africa is a failed state. Despite the challenges, the nation continues to make strides in various sectors, proving its resilience and potential. Next, we tackled the stereotype that corruption defines South African politics. While corruption is a global issue, it doesn't overshadow the numerous instances of integrity and good governance in the country. Finally, we've examined the myth that apartheid's legacy no longer influences politics. The echoes of this oppressive regime still reverberate, impacting the political landscape. But it's not the only factor shaping the nation's politics. By dispelling these myths, we hope to foster a more nuanced understanding of South African politics.